Congressman, it's Lauren Leader. I was curious about what do Democrats really need to see? I mean, obviously, there's this, we want this, you want a clean CR. What does that mean? And how do you explain to the American people in very simple, clear terms, what's in the CR now that you object to that makes it worth it to shut down the government, and how it needs to change in order to keep funding it?
Well, look, I think there are different opinions depending upon what districts you're in. I mean, for me, I just think we got to get back to appropriation bills. We haven't funded the government correctly. The last person to balance the budget was a Democrat in Bill Clinton. So I think we got to try to get back to those days and stop doing these CRs. Right now, in order to keep the government open, what we would like to do is do a 30-day clean CR, which keeps everything going just for a month so that we can at least get back to the table as Democrats and Republicans to try to come up with a bipartisan piece of legislation. This is not a bipartisan piece of legislation. They decided what they're going to keep open, what they're going to cut. They decided what they're going to fund and what they're not going to fund. They have access to Elon Musk. They're keeping open Social Security offices in only Republican districts and closing them in Democratic districts. And so those are the things we're not going to participate in. If they need our votes, they got to talk to us. And so, look, I'm hopeful we keep government open. I don't want it to close. But let's not forget, when Trump was president last time, Republicans closed the government for 6 weeks. All this chaos we're seeing with grocery prices increasing, the stock market down 3,500 points since Trump took office, all of that chaos has come to Congress. And if the government closes, it's because of Trump's chaotic behavior.
So, David, how do you reconcile what the case that you lay out in your book and the continued conversations from the administration, particularly J.D. Vance in Europe in the last few weeks, railing against sort of erosion of quote-unquote free speech on the European continent and in other nations? I struggle to kind of understand how those things go together. Can you explain how you think about it if we're sort of rolling back press freedoms here, but then simultaneously criticizing the Europeans for not supporting enough free speech? How do we reconcile that?
Well, it's very hard to reconcile, is the truth. And I think that the great thing about the First Amendment is that it applies to everyone, regardless of your political views, regardless of whether you're a journalist at a major news organization or an independent blogger operating out of your parents' bedroom. And that is something that I think is really important in the U.S. It's not, but you have to really stand for it regardless of who is in power and regardless of who is expressing the views or what the views are that they're expressing. And that's not something I'm seeing right now coming out of the White House.
So, Natasha, you've been in some incredible series, including Insecure, my personal favorite. But there is this kind of intense cultiness to White Lotus, and I was curious about how this particular series has impacted your career and just your engagement with fans, because people are just obsessed.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea the show would have the impact it has, and I'm just so grateful to HBO and my family there, because like you said, I've done Insecure with HBO and now this, and yeah, fans are so rabid. I mean, I get stopped everywhere. People want to know what I know, and I've signed my life away. Spoilers, yeah. But I think it's incredible to be a part of television that's creating water cooler culture again, where people have appointment viewing and they're talking about art. I think, yeah, it's exciting to know that can still happen.
Lauren, you've spent a lot of time trying to elect women candidates. Give us your reflections on Senator Shaheen's legacy.
I mean, she's had an amazing career. She was governor of New Hampshire for 2 terms before she became senator. New Hampshire has a long history of electing women, and, I certainly hope it continues. We do have very small numbers, still not even 30% of Congress are women. I'm sure there will be some great women candidates, especially from the New Hampshire State House, which has historically sent lots of women to national office. But she leaves an extraordinary legacy of serving her state, and I think she's going to be missed in Washington. She's a lion of the Senate, as they say.
Yeah, and New Hampshire slightly leans Democrats in the presidential election in recent cycles, but still competitive and has a tradition of electing both Republicans and Democrats in some of those statewide offices.